I'm going to title this How to Live, kind of encompassing, wouldn't you say? Would you write that? How to Live.
Sure.
How to Live. Now, this ties into what we talked about recently in Sedona. It's very, very simple dynamics. Wait for Linda to finish writing. How to live. This ties into enlightenment. And this has perhaps been a not such a good word in the past. Linda doesn't like this word at all. But you're going to write it on the board. Republican. Yeah, it's a bad word, but Linda will have to now write Republican. And
are you serious?
From now on, if you want to really live, you want to be enlightened, you have to be Republican. Only in a Shambra gathering. The word is assume. Assume.
Oh, that makes an ass out of you and me.
No, it only makes an ass out of you.
Oh.
Assume. If you would, please.
Really?
On its own piece of paper. Assume.
I hate that word.
What you do is you assume, stop questioning and doubting, you assume that if you've chosen enlightenment, you've made a clear choice, you just assume that everything is serving that. Everything, no buts. Now, here's a couple of little caveats. If you really haven't chosen it, you're still going from group to group, trying to decide, which group you're going to go with, and you're still studying spirituality, this is going to really hurt. But if you made a clear choice within yourself for your embodied enlightenment in this lifetime period, just period, and you assume. Because you see what happens is you doubt. So what happens is, I'll give you an example here.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. See, you're already doubting. You're already doubting. Excuse me, gentlemen. I need more than that, and we need some chocolate to go with it. So this is good. Thank you. So you assume. That look of concern on your face. So here you are, a plate. Consciousness. In consciousness, you've made a clear choice for embodied enlightenment. And when you make that clear choice, then and only then can what you call your divinity, your I am, join you. Because when you're not sure, it stays away. There is an illusion of separation between you and yourself. You create this barrier. So what you would call your true I am, your spirit, kind of stays away and watches. Watches just, hey, what's going on? Watches you going through your challenges, your dark and light days. Just sits back. Once you make that very clear choice, no buts, just a period, I choose embodied enlightenment, period. Then the I am, the divinity, it comes in, and you just assume, blindly, naively, stupidly. You have to almost be so stupid with yourself. You just, naive, let's call it, simple, pure, whatever the word is, but you just assume that's what's happening. Those of you who recently took quantum allowing in Kauai, you went through a lot of interesting experiences shortly after. Interesting. You just have to assume you're in the midst of quantum allowing. You assume that. And then it happens. But when doubt comes in the way of an aspect, big doubt comes in, and it starts to overshadow. and starts to draw energy to it. And suddenly the energy that should be going to this beautiful enlightenment suddenly gets distracted over to the huge doubt. However, if you just blindly assume, it goes like that again. But then, of course, things happen. You have people, you have in your life, you have situations that come up, and then you start to doubt again. And it starts to take the energy, and it starts to cover up your let's say, your purity. And now you get all discombobulated. The energy's going everywhere but to you. It's all getting tied up in the doubts. So what do? You just dumb down. No buts. Just go back to the clarity. You assume naively, blindly, but that's hard to do. Because, well, if I just assume, what if I get blindsided? Well, you just assume, A, you're not going to, and B, if you do, it's actually a huge gift. You see, all these doubts that come in, they're coming from everywhere, David. They're coming from aspects and guilt. And they all start, Linda, would you hold that?
My pleasure. Oh, I get to hold the good
You
one.
see, because I'm really busy with all of the doubts, and they're all taking energy, and they're all distracting, and they're all getting in the way, and they're all annoying, and they're covering up. And you see, they're all taking away. So what do? You take a deep breath, that naive breath, and you just assume. You assume, dear God, that, I'm calling you God, you assume that if you've chosen embodied enlightenment, that's all that's going to happen. Now, of course, get over here. Now, all the doubt starts coming in and covering up, you see. But it takes energy. It's very distracting. Pretty soon, you're even going to forget what the hell you're here for, embodied enlightenment. And you start doubting that because you've got all these questions going on. And you just stop. You take a deep breath. You say, we're going to do a mirab today, and a mirab of assuming, and we're going to get rid of, nobody got hurt. I assume that you're masters. Nobody was smashed in the face.
Should we tape this here?
You can tape it there. The true spiritual concepts are not complex. Matter of fact, they're so simple. You go, really? That's it? For enlightenment, all I have to do is assume? Absolutely. But remember, the doubts come up. They get in there. I gave this little example of Egypt. Oh, choosing freedom, it's going to be great. Boom, all of a sudden, all these outside elements come in. You with yourself. You choose, a part of you that's had this longing. You can't even put words to this longing for enlightenment. You choose enlightenment. But the buts come up then. The doubts come up. They literally start taking energy and even consciousness away. They start distracting. And then you just start questioning even more. Maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I need to read this book. Maybe I need to do this therapy. Maybe I need to do this and that. No. All you do is assume. Assuming, you could say, takes a lot of trust. Well, it takes total trust. But at this point, what else do you have to trust? Nothing. Nothing. Assuming means adopting yourself. It means adopting you. It means adopting or taking on or taking ownership for the fact that if you've chosen enlightenment, why would anything but enlightenment happen? Why? God, which is, by the way, not what you think it is, isn't sitting up there saying, I don't know, I don't think they're ready for enlightenment yet. Oh, God doesn't care. You can choose enlightenment, you can choose total separation, doesn't care. There's no forces out there, any forces anywhere, that are actually working against your enlightenment. The forces that are out there are working for the people that don't want enlightenment. You see, they're much easier to work with. There is not anything other than what we call some aspects of doubt or guilt within yourself that are working against you. And actually, they're not really working against you. They're just doing what you've asked them to do. Interfere. Run interference. Your doubt aspects, your guilt aspects, your whatever aspects, they're just doing what you asked. The moment that you just assume that everything is about your enlightenment, then it becomes so. It's a little bit of a trick on yourself in a way, but it's an honest trick on yourself. Because otherwise you keep thinking about it and stressing about it, and your body starts hurting and start wondering what you're doing wrong, and pretty soon you just give up, which is actually about the best thing you can do. But that form of giving up, getting out of your own way, you have to get to such a painful emotional and physical place where you just give up, surrender. You can do it right now without all the pain. As a matter of fact, in this mirab, we're going to release some of that physical pain. In this mirab, we're going to release a lot of those aspects, all the aspects that are doubting and causing that exhaustion that you're feeling, the physical and emotional exhaustion. Enlightenment is difficult enough anyway because you're going through deep-level biological and changes as well as going beyond the mind. But when the energy is going to all these aspects of doubt, it makes it many, many times more exhausting. So here's our opportunity in this beautiful mirab to just assume, call it trust, call it whatever you want, but assume you've chosen embodied enlightenment. Now, assume that it is becoming so. That's simple. No buts. There are no buts. There are no buts, but my children. No. Might as well just walk out the door right now if that's what you're going to do, because otherwise this mirab will either hurt or it will disappoint you. Were you leaving? There's no buts about about anything. There are no buts in it. There are no buts in saying, but I'm worried what's going to happen, because that's a big but. I'm worried what's going to happen if suddenly this embodied enlightenment occurs. No buts. This is it. This is it. So it is assuming enlightenment. Just assuming it. Because your only other option is doubting it, fighting it, worrying about it, waiting for it. Why? Just assume enlightenment. And dear Yoham, assume the stage. So let's have the lights down a little bit. Yeah, good. That's good mirab music. So as Yoham gets ready, take a good deep breath. Assuming. Now, it's different if you haven't really chosen enlightenment. But like I said at the beginning of this gathering, then you're still a student. Now, if you've made a clear choice for enlightenment, you are a master. Just assume it. Stop questioning, stop doubting. You know, it's kind of been programmed into the human being to always doubt and question, to make sure that you're real, to make sure that you're make sure you're really being honest with yourself. Because in the past, you think you've played games with yourself, you haven't been honest or real, you've been a liar, a thief, all the rest of that. Doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to keep testing yourself. Not at all. Unless you like doing that, but I don't think you do. You just assume that everything that's happening, every energy that's coming to you is about enlightenment. You just assume that everything that happens, including your irritation and aggravation, is about enlightenment. And it is, by the way. Your irritability, because you're no longer going to falsely tolerate things you find intolerable. You assume that everything that happens, taking the wrong turn on the road, it's not just fate, it's not this group of angels making you do that, it's not because you're a bad person, you just assume, awesomely assume that everything that's happening, every iota of energy, every ray of energy, whether from the earth or whether from cosmic or crystal, is about your enlightenment. And a funny thing happens, then it is. If you start throwing buts in there, but I'm not sure. Just think of these plates. I just demonstrated covering up. They take energy. They make that core I amness invisible. They overshadow it. You just assume everything. It's magic in a way. It's magic. Some would argue, but they do argue, they say, well, you're just deceiving yourself. I would argue that the other form, all the doubts, all the waiting, that was the true deception. I would say that just assuming is being real with yourself, trusting yourself, allowing yourself, recreating yourself. Imagine at the end of this shout, imagine the lights come up, get up, use the toilet. You assume that using the toilet's about enlightenment. Every little thing. You assume that whatever happens tonight is about enlightenment. Tomorrow, you wake up in the morning, you take a deep breath. Say, today, everything is about my enlightenment. It's all about me. It's all about my enlightenment. I'm just going to assume it. I'm not going to assume some little deviant factor can slip in. I'm not going to assume that some dark energies from the past are going to slip their way into my life. I'm not going to assume 80% of the things that happen to me are about enlightenment. I'm going to assume everything. There are no buts in this assuming. It's only the buts that make an ass out of you, but not me. Assuming, it's actually kind of playful. It's actually kind of fun. In assuming, suddenly your body starts to align. You know, what has been these aches and pains, oh gosh, they've been tough lately. Suddenly, in assuming that everything is about enlightenment, these very same energies that are working in your body suddenly aren't painful. Not because you've done a healing, not because you've gotten rid of them, but because you're assuming that they're there in service to you, not working against you. They're only painful when you think they're working against you, when you think you're doing something wrong, when you think that there's something inferior about you. So you assume, blindly, naively, innocently, unabashed, no buts. You assume that every choice you're making, whether it's what to watch on television, whether it's what to wear, that every choice that you make is about your enlightenment. And suddenly, oddly, magically, you are making enlightened choices. You're not making choices from a place of doubt or worry or consternation or fear or what will others think. Suddenly, every choice is enlightened. No matter how simple. It could be whether to have fruit juice or water. Suddenly, with that assumption of enlightenment, it is an enlightened choice. And suddenly, whatever it is that you chose suddenly becomes an enlightened drink. It's like magic. That assumption of enlightenment, everything then becomes about enlightenment. If you decide to drink the fruit juice instead of the water, it becomes enlightened fruit juice. This thing that you call reality, not really. Reality is what you choose. That's it. You can assume enlightenment, then your reality will be enlightenment. You assume you are a master, and everything will respond to you as a master. Kind of what many others do, most others, actually everyone does, is they assume they're doing something wrong. Even if they're just assuming 5% is wrong, they're going to get some wrong energy. Oddly enough, the focus goes on the 5% rather than the 95%. So it actually becomes a lot more than 5%. It becomes a way of living. You assume that there's something wrong. You assume that somebody's out to get you. You assume that things are going to go bad. Well, then they do. It's not a mind thing. It's not thought. It's choice, what you choose. Let's take a deep breath and let's go deep now with the music into assuming. Yes, you can blindly assume that you're a master. The energy doesn't care. Energy will serve you. The energies will align to whatever you're choosing. Choose lack, believe in lack, and it gets there. Believe in conspiracies and all this others, then it will be there. Assume that everything's about enlightenment, and it becomes so. I'm really feeling now as beautiful music of Johann plays. Life, day-to-day life of just assuming enlightenment. Feel how the energies in your day-to-day life change. Imagine yourself going through your daily routine, waking up in the morning, doing what you do. Don't try to change the routine. Try to change the underlying assumption. Take a deep breath. Feel yourself now, beginning tomorrow morning. With that assumption, everything is about my enlightenment, as it should be, damn it. Assuming that all the energies are there serving you. Assuming actually you don't need to do much. Because the energies, they come your way. So Here we go into assuming you're the master. You've chosen embodied enlightenment. Now you've come to this point on your journey of experiences. You've come to this point where there's a pedestal, a marker. You look at it and it says, the master assumes. The master assumes. You think to yourself, wow, that means I've gotten to this point where I actually go beyond thinking, I just assume. I go beyond planning, I just assume. I go beyond doubts, because they weren't a lot of fun, I just assume. I step into a magical type of reality now, because I'm just assuming. You could call it something else if you want, knowingness, trust, but I like the word assuming. I'm just going to assume that everything is going to serve me. Now, feel into your day, into your activities. Oh, now what's going to happen here, you're going to see some faces. Faces of people you know. Faces that you don't necessarily recognize. I'm going to challenge this assumption, but what do? You just take a deep breath, smile, just go on assuming. You just go on assuming that everything is for your enlightenment, because actually it is. So here we are in this Mirab. Mirabs are nice. You don't have to listen to me quite so much. You can drift off to sleep a little bit. Mirab's kind of a nice, graceful shift. But let's assume this isn't just a regular mirab. Let's assume you came here today for a huge shift. It's been a tough 6 months, taking its toll. A lot of doubt sneaking in. A lot of good things happening, but it's been tough. So let's just assume that this is a super mirab. Let's assume it's double super mirab. Shift beyond shifts. Let's assume that something amazing is happening in the room right now. Absolutely amazing. Going beyond your doubts. Even the resistance, because I can feel your resistance. Part of you saying, well, I'm not, no, let's just assume. Now we're going to dive really deep. And we're going to assume a big shift is happening. And the funny thing is, then it happens. Your mind is going to be squawking away at you. Shut up. Your mind is going to be doing all of its buts. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're just going to assume that in this mirab, the energies come in for you. They come your way. Your way. All the energies come your way. So, we take a deep breath. We go into Super Mirab, the first time anywhere in the universe a Super Mirab's been done. And we assume huge shifts, huge releases. So let's take a deep breath as Johan takes us to this next level. send out certain energy probes. You're used to doing this, that are saying, so what just happened? Did anything happen? So you take a deep breath. You go back to assuming, well, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Why? Well, because I chose it. It's that simple. The energy probes go out there and say, but do I feel different? Do I look less tired? Am I smarter? You know exactly what to tell the mind at that point. You just take a deep breath and you assume that something happened. You assume that this is actually probably the best mirab we've ever done. It had the biggest level of shift and change with the least amount of resistance. In other words, it just happened. You assume it. The energies, which are always in service to you, they go along with it. They realign themselves. And then it becomes reality. Damn, that was the biggest energy shift, consciousness shift I've ever seen any group ever go through. That easy. You see, the masters, the true masters, they understand how simple it is. They understand that, well, it started with this thing that Tobias talked about many years ago, acceptance. Acceptance. I talked then about allowing. Now we've got, you assume. If you're accepting, you're allowing, you just assume. Everything's about your enlightenment. Let's take a deep breath. Really letting this beautiful mirab, letting it soak in, letting it do its final little shifting. See, when you assume that it's about enlightenment, those physical issues you walked in here with, those emotional issues, relationship issues, all the other stuff, suddenly all those energies shift and realign. Suddenly, they're really not problems anymore. They either go away or they serve you sweetly in your enlightenment. Let's just let all this soak in for a little bit. After a super mirab, you just have to kind of relax for a bit. Take a good deep breath. Assuming's a lot more fun than doubting. Days when you feel you have to put on your battle armor. You have to, whether it's battling with kids, a job, really just yourself. So many days where you're so tired, so worn out, but you have to put on that suit of armor, get ready for another day of battling. Not anymore. Just assume every battle is done. Assume everything is here to serve you. You assume that you're allowing that I am full presence of yourself into your life. And then it becomes so. It becomes so. You assume that this is the lifetime of embodied enlightenment, that you are a master, and it becomes so. All of the energies then align to serve you. In what you're choosing and in your assumption, it's that simple. Anything else is just cover-ups, doubts, buts, procrastinations, and delays. Take a deep breath. Assume embodied enlightenment. Take a deep breath. You assume your sovereignty. Why? Well, because you've chosen it. It's what you desire. It's your passion. Then you take a good deep breath. Realize we actually did make a huge shift here today. And then you take a good deep breath and you assume that all is well in all of creation. And then it is. With that, my dear friends, I love you dearly. See you in our next gathering. I am Adamus, in service to you. Thank you.
And so, assume each breath a miracle right here in this moment, this breath, filled with all of the miracle that you are. Assume this breath. This is the breath. Assume as you receive. Allow it into the core of you, assuming yes, this is the moment, this is the breath, this is the brilliant gift of enlightenment for me. Yes, this is the breath I will receive, a miracle breath for me. Yes, assume. Yes.
Johann. First of all, thank you so much for being here for the Crimson Circle show. A huge thanks to Jeffrey Hoppe, my dear one, channeling Adamus Saint-Germain, giving us this ability to assume. Whoa! Hey, huge thanks to Norma for the breathing and Johan for the mirab and the beautiful music gift that we always love what it brings. So, and thank you to everyone listening, to all of the audience here at Coal Creek Canyon, those on BTR, Awakening Zone, the Crimson Circle show, wherever you are, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy yourselves. We'll be back here August 3rd, same time, same place, I assume. Thank you.